lots was made of the fact that Middlesbrough hadn't scored in their last 4 games. We all knew that they would score today. I don't think any of us thought it would be quite as shambolic and as abysmal as it was. 4-0, the final score. So many games being called off today. I kind of felt like it would have been better if ours was one of them. I know you've had a bit of time to mull it over, Glenn. I can't still work out whether if I'm angry or whether I'm just over it at the moment. I've got mixed emotions right now.
I was angry at the time. I think from the moment the second goal went in, really, and then it was obvious that we'd given up. And now it's just it's so bad. It's funny, really. It's the only way you can kind of get over it, and is to just laugh at the ridiculousness of it. And it is basically everything. It's funny you mentioned Sport Republic. You start thinking about it in that level of detail as well. About you get a defeat like that, you start thinking about decisions they've made and just the way things have generally gone. It was just terrible, wasn't it? I mean, the first half was all right, I guess, in that it was fairly even, chances both ways. We probably should have been 2-0 up. Finazar's missed from the edge of the box when he was basically gifted the ball by one of their midfielders, and he dragged it 5-6 yards wide. The worst miss was Tom Fellows, of course, who I love Tom Fellows as a player, but his finishing is all different kinds of abysmal. It's just terrible. You can see why his goal scoring record is as pathetic as it is, both for West Brom and of course he's yet to score for us. There's just no excuse for not hitting the target from there. It's just dreadful. Goals change games, of course, as was proved later on. Second half, we had a decent chance. Adam Armstrong got blocked, and then the first goal went in, which possibly offside, but regardless, he stuck it in the net, and then we basically gave up. Shocking defending, tactical paralysis by the manager. They kept finding space behind our fullbacks, and I think virtually all the goals came from spaces in the wide areas. The other team knows that Fellows is not a defender. They know that Manning doesn't defend, and they found spaces. Lots of ball watching. Again, central defence is just generally shocking. I mean, you probably end up focusing on the defending because we've let in 4 goals, but there was no attacking play either. We're trying to play out from the back, basically. 3 central defenders, 2 of whom can't really pass the ball that well. We get the ball into midfield. We created the odd chance in the first half, as I said, but I think from when Middlesbrough scored, I don't think we had a sight of their goal. I think maybe Cienza put one over in the 93rd minute or something.
So the Harwood-Bellis header.
Yeah. So, but that's nothing. And all eyes are, I'm going to say eyes are on Sport Republic, and by that I mean Tonderecker at the moment. He doesn't seem to be doing anything. I know we'll probably get onto that in more detail in a minute, but it just doesn't seem to be doing anything. I thought it was funny that 4-0 down, 5 minutes to go, and we finally changed the formation. But that's purely to give Ross Stewart a few minutes. That's nothing to do with, obviously at that time of the game, it's nothing to do with trying to get anything out of the game that we're currently in. So yeah, basically not great, and we deserve to lose. They were by far the better side. Look more composed. They look bigger and stronger. Another issue that mentioned against Millwall, where we got away with a point. Just terrible. And the second half was up there with the worst second halves that we've put in this season, and there have been plenty. And it's now, when we were winning games in the first half and not being great in the second half, I think you could kind of forgive it, but it does seem to be a thing that's just following us this season. Lack of fitness, lack of physical size, whatever it is, we're dreadful in the second half. So it's becoming a bit of a worry.
This mentality, Steve, where we go a goal down and then collapse, is not a new thing. Is that still summed up by a lack of leaders anywhere? I mean, like on the pitch or off it as well. It's a recurring problem still.
It is, but I think, it feels like kind of giving this set of players a get out of jail free card to say, well, there's nobody leading them. Professional footballers are professional footballers, and they've got there by having sort of huge amounts of sort of self-belief and self-confidence and the drive to get themselves into that career. It's not an easy thing. Like barely 1% of academy players make it at any sort of high professional level. So it's not an easy profession to be in, and by doing so, surely you have those kind of built-in mental attributes that we're seemingly so lacking at the moment. I mean, let's also be brutally honest. We've brought a guy in for his leadership capability, and we've already had to drop him out of the squad because he's been so crap.
He's nowhere near it.
It's not. Yeah, and he's already one of our top earners. It's like we've somehow managed to make the situation worse. And yeah, it's the mentality thing, as you say, isn't new. So yeah, I wonder whether certainly in the sort of fullness of time there'll be a rewriting of the sort of managerial obituaries of certain managers that we've had in recent years. And yeah, maybe some of these players might cop a bit of it at some point or other. I mean, they, having kind of cowardly given up in the second half, they then didn't have the stomach or the balls to go out to even get within sort of 30 or 40 yards of that away end.
But you're not surprised about that, are you? Though that sums them up as a group of players, to be honest.
It does. But also, there have been many crap Saints teams over the years that all of us have supported the club. We're all long enough in the tooth to remember dreadful teams of days gone by, and you would still at least have the bare minimum of players coming over and vaguely showing their appreciation. Leo Cienza didn't have a good game today by any stretch of the imagination, but he's obviously built up more than enough credit in the bank that he still comes over. He's always giving his shirt away. I mean, it must be costing a fortune in deductions off his weekly payslip. But he'll always come over. But I mean, nobody else got within 30 or 40 yards, and I'm getting a little bit tired of. I mean, this isn't a Tondereckert issue per se, but it's a modern managerial thing of basically trying to gaslight everybody into thinking that we haven't seen what we've seen. We all saw on the either if you were in the ground or if you were listening to the reports from the reporters who were in the ground, or if you were watching on Saints play overseas, then you will have seen that the players didn't go anywhere near that away end for to kind of give those. I mean, what do we have up there? About 2,000 or so, to give them kind of any sort of appreciation for the distance and trouble going up there first Sunday in the new year. And yeah, for him to then say, "Well, I didn't see that. You were literally on the pitch. We saw you there."
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, that's not good enough. That's. I mean, you're almost into kind of a scenario where he's almost Nathan Jones'd himself, hasn't he? In many ways, in terms
you're not the first person to make that comparison today with some of the nonsense that he comes out with after a game.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that he's come out with, either post game or in some of his press conferences, like we all like read. Or you either tune into these things live, or you listening to it, or reading it on the Echo site or whatever, whether on the transcriptions, and you're reading that and you're thinking, sure. I mean, there must have been a tone to the way he said this, because the way I've read this, that's absolute nonsense. But actually, no, it does seem as if just the stuff that he's coming out, like, I mean, we'll get onto it in terms of the system and things like that. But you're telling people, like, you're kind of trying to kid people that water isn't wet.
Yeah.
And
that's a slippery slope.
It is. Well, I mean, especially if it's water in this weather. But yeah, you're on a slippery slope, and all of a sudden that that little bit of goodwill that you built up over those sort of 5 or 6 weeks in November. I mean, that's gone. That's basically vanished now.
That's long gone. I want to ask you in just a bit about how he survives this and how he gets out of it and how he doesn't go down as being Ruben II or Sellers Mark II. But we'll get on to that in a moment. Martin, you can talk about the system probably for about an hour as well, and I think we definitely should. But today, I think every goal was down to either really poor defending or poor goalkeeping, and that I think is what really annoyed me the most. What about you?
Yeah, it's infuriating, Martin. It's absolutely infuriating. Like people not going with runners, not tracking, not putting tackles in, not giving 110%, and that's unacceptable, massively unacceptable. But the fact that it was like a pack of cards, wasn't it? Once that first goal went in, and at one stage, I think it was the third goal, there was 10 of our players in our own box, which makes it even more inexcusable. Yeah. I couldn't believe what I saw today, but the lack of real desire was alarming for me. We talk about the goalkeeping situation. He's under a lot of pressure. He's not ever been good enough. Glenn's spot on with a lot of what he says, and we're about to bring another goalkeeper in. I think it's a good topic to talk about at some stage in today's show, whether he's the right man, but that we need reinforcements. But the lack of leaders is a big concern right across the pitch. When the going gets tough, to start digging in deep and getting organised on the pitch. I think there's a lot wrong with us at the moment, and like everybody said, the goodwill that was built up during that run that he had when we were playing some brilliant football, free flowing, superb football. Cienza out wide, Fellows getting higher up the field. Where's it all gone? Why are we not doing that no more? Why is Leo playing so deep? Why is he having to come deep to get the ball? Why is Tom defending all the time? We want him up the field. It's infuriating at the moment because I think we do have a good, there's some good players in there. I don't think they're being utilised to their strengths, in my opinion.
I mean, Glenn, he went to great lengths to defend the 5 at the back thing, even again after the game today. And we're saying, well, for 55 minutes, we were controlling it. It's not the system. It's not the system. But the way I look at it is that we're sitting 15th in the table. So therefore, it's clearly not working. And you have to try something else. If we were second and there was a risk we might drop out of the automatics or we might drop out of the top 6, then all right, maybe there is a bit more to lose and there's something else at stake. But we've literally got nothing to lose now. He's got to change something.
The problem today, if you want to talk about in terms of system, is that in the first half it was passable. I still thought we were pretty flaky with regards to having.
First 15 was crap, but then we kind of got a hold of things, didn't we?
Yeah, some of the attacking play was, there didn't seem to be a lot of sort of energy or will to get forward and progress up the pitch. So whether that's the system or whether that's the players, I don't know, but a bit of both, no doubt. But the second half, once it starts going wrong, you have to change something. You absolutely have to change something. And I'm looking at Tondereka as the whole now. He's taken the same formation that Will Still had. He tweaked it a little bit. So we have Harwood-Bellis dropping into right back and Fellows up the wing. We had those wins while he was the interim manager, some of which were against diabolical teams. Sheffield Wednesday and Charlton. Lost to Millwall, got the job. Then we had those 2 home wins against Birmingham and someone else, West Brom.
Yeah.
And ever since then, he's been trying to tweak things, and nothing has worked. Within that formation. So, lost to Norwich, lost to Oxford, 2 teams in the bottom 3, and now we've got hammered by a team who hadn't scored for 7.5 hours. Now they scored 4 goals in 7 minutes, or whatever. Is what it felt like. So, nothing he's done has worked. The other decision he made, of course, right back at the start, was to change the goalkeeper back.
Yep.
And again, he talks about wanting to have physically big players on the pitch, and I get that because, as I said last week, we're a team of short asses. We really are. You've got the centre halves, and outside of them, you've got. I looked it up. Flynn Downs is 5'11", and Finn Azaz is 6 foot. But there's a lot of very, very small players, and I am wondering if we just get overpowered in the second half. So we've got players in the squad, but they're all injured or out of form. So you've got Romeu, Shea Charles, Ross Stewart, Alex McCarthy, players who are physically a little bit bigger. So maybe we have to go down that route. But the justification for sticking with 3 at the back, even when we're losing, is never going to wash with anyone. It just isn't. I mean, that thing he said last week, this is speaks to Steve's gaslighting point, saying that he wants to keep 3 at the back because it gives us something in an attacking sense. With just, you know, I'm going to call it bullshit corner.
Go and take a seat in that corner.
Yeah, go and take a seat in bullshit corner. Yeah, I mean, you know, people aren't. That's not going to work. I mean, if you're worried about losing Taylor Harwood-Bellis' attacking threat from open play, then we are severely struggling, aren't we? You know, put him at centre back with someone else, play a back 4, and you know, try and give us some more options going forward, and stop this space behind the fullbacks, because Middlesbrough totally sussed it, but he does nothing within games to correct the blatantly obvious. I think every manager outmanages him in the second half.
Yeah,
and that cannot go on. You're not going to win many games, especially if teams have sussed out how to stop us passing the ball, you know, forward and creating the amount of chances we were creating in those games that we were winning. So yeah, desperate, but we need some of those bigger players I mentioned, the physically bigger players, to come in, so at least we can, you know, at least compete physically with some of these teams, and maybe not get smashed in the second half. But yeah, you can't persevere with 3 at the back with these 2 as wing backs, because, as I say, teams have sussed it.
And that stubbornness, Steve, was highlighted today, I think, with the changes. If you look, we were 2-0 down. We swap. Cam Bragg comes on for Yander, which just seems a bit strange to me. And then there was that triple substitution, but still no system change. It's the like for like changes when we're 2-0, 3-0, 4-0 down. It's nuts. I don't know why he is so wedded to this system that isn't working, isn't producing.
It's the notion of, well, the system isn't the problem, it's the players. So therefore, if you swap out the players into the same system, then suddenly it will miraculously start producing results, and will have come from, were we 3 down or 2 down when we made that triple sub?
Might have been 3. I think 2 was when Cam Bragg came on.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we're suddenly gonna win this game 4-3 just by having Yell at Wellington and Cam Archer on the field. I mean, it's just nonsense. Yeah, I mean,
do you think he's been forced to play that way? Because that was one of the rumours this week, that perhaps they're saying you have to play this way.
I find it very hard to believe. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the guy's job's on the line, as with any manager. If you're going to play, if you've got a system that you want to play and you think the players fit into it, then fine, by all means. But that shouldn't be dictated to you by anybody sort of sat in a boardroom. And I would be 99.99% certain that that's not the case. I just think that's what Eckert prefers to do. I think that's the way he sees the game currently being played by some good teams, some less good teams, and it being largely successful. Unfortunately, he's not got a squad of players that necessarily suits it. And we've not signed players for that system either. Like the players that we signed during the summer weren't really set up for the system. The fact that we've obviously had Ryan Manning at left wing back all the time. I mean, he's going forward. I think he's kind of fine in that role, but we all know defensively he's not really up to it. Wellington, not quite sure really either way. He's not played enough games, I don't think, for anybody to know one way or the other. Some games he's looked all right, some games he's looked way out of his depth. So it's difficult. And on the right hand side, we let one player go who we know would be fine in this system, James Bree. Solid and unspectacular. But we brought 2 guys in. Brought 2 guys in who have both been injured for most of the season. So I mean, I quite like Yellett, but he's what, 5'6" and can barely be 9 stone wet through.
Yeah.
So from a physicality perspective, that doesn't help our cause at all. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I just think he's kind of gone down a sort of rabbit warren and is now just kind of wedded to this system. And it's like, right, okay, what can I tweak? What little detail can I change that is going to make this all work properly? And actually, you've got a load of players who haven't got the heart or the kind of desire to really kind of stick with it. They were quite happy. They were quite happy for that short period when there was a change in management. But it's like when the caretaker, the substitute teacher comes in, when your geography teacher's off sick for a week, the substitute teacher comes in, you all have great fun for a week because it's something a bit different.
Yeah.
But if that teacher was to get the job full time, they wouldn't have a hope in hell of controlling the class. And it does feel a bit that way now. The players have gone back to how they were at the end of the Will Still era, in that it's like, well, doesn't matter. My job's not under threat. And yeah, which obviously bodes well given what our next league away assignment is.
Well, we will
there's
get on to that
absolutely
soon.
no chance that Fratton Park crowd will be getting on top of our players and making it difficult for them, is there?
Because I think that worries me the most, to be honest. Martin, I want to get your thoughts on the goalkeeper and potentially the new signing, because we spoke about that briefly a couple of days ago. So it'd be good to get your thoughts on that. But I just wonder how this ends for Tonda and how he survives this. There's no credit in the bank. Are we going to see another dreadful bunch of players getting a manager sacked? Because it ain't happening.
Yeah, I fear about his in-game management. And I was looking at some numbers earlier. I think there was an ex-tweet that I saw from Saint Stats. And they were talking, and they broke down the second halves and the in-game management. I think he really struggles with. And you can see we've conceded 15 goals in second halves in 13 games. We've only had 5 clean sheets in second halves. It's nowhere near good enough. Look, he needs a goalkeeper, but we need the right goalkeeper. We need somebody that's going to come in and make a real difference. I think whoever you bring in now has to make a difference to what you already have. There's no point bringing somebody in that's not going to improve us. I fear for Tonda. I think he's lost the fans already.
Yeah.
And I always felt that with Will Still, because he come to England, Will Still, he had a lot of experience in the English game. Though he'd done well in France for periods of time with sides that were sort of like mid-table sides. They were never like top end sides, but he obviously not played the game. Similar with Tonda. They don't get the ropes are a lot shorter. Sean Dyche is a manager. They get a longer rope. I don't feel he has any. And I think he's run out of it already. I really fear for him now, but his in-game management is way, way short at this level. We won't be anywhere near the playoffs if we continue like we're going. That they brought an assistant in to work with him today. Is that going to make a massive difference? I'm not convinced.
This is the guy that was most recently head coach of the Right to Dream International Academy in Ghana. I don't know anything more about it than that, but it sounds like somewhere you send your kids to learn how to sing. I think he's been at Bristol Rovers, Swindon, Charlton Athletic as well. But yeah, that's one for later. But just on the goalkeeper, I get the impression there you think that we might be after the wrong player.
Yeah, well, there was talk of Patterson from Sunderland. He was the one that they were speaking about.
Which makes sense, right? Total sense.
Absolutely makes sense. Perfect. He knows the division, knows how to get promoted, and knows the English game. The guy that they're looking at the moment, he doesn't look like he's played a great deal of football. He's played 3 international games this year. He's only played 2 cup games. He's not played a lot of football. He's at Bayern Munich. He's gone out on loan, but not played. When you look back at his last couple of seasons, he's not played loads of football. So for me, is he going to come in and make a massive difference? I don't see it.
Yeah, well, Glenn said last week, I think he needs to be having it. Just, I mean, him. Whether for me, the keeper actually isn't the biggest problem.
I agree,
and I don't think. I just think if that keeper comes in and can make some saves, that is already a step up from where we are. I don't think Patterson knowing the Championship has any impact whatsoever. Yeah, sure, he knows what to expect, but any goalkeeper coming in and playing a single game in the Championship will learn very quickly. And I mean, this guy's what, 6'4", 6'5". He's a big lad, so he's not going to get bullied around. He'll get free kicks if he goes down. Referees give free kicks against goalkeepers for goalkeepers all the time. So yeah, I think this concept of either not having played the game in terms of managers or doesn't know the division. I think that's I don't buy that as a valid excuse for someone not being up to scratch sort of when they come in, when they walk in the door. I don't think that's a fair assessment, because I mean you look at other managers that have come in. The Serbian fella at is he Croatian maybe at Hull? They're what, 4th in the table.
Yeah,
he's never managed in the Championship before. The Hellberg at Middlesbrough, who's obviously just battered us 4-0. Never managed in this country before, and it's I think we in England we get very there's this sort of very sort of insular look that nobody can possibly succeed without having already experienced it. It was like, well, how do you get the experience then? And people do make their way in the game in different ways, and that goes for players and managers. I don't think it's hard and fast. Well, he doesn't know the way this league works. I mean, everybody plays everybody home and away, and some go up, some go down. It's the same as every league in the world. There's no this sort of exceptionalism of how English football is somehow different from any other league in the world is absolute nonsense for my book. If this keeper if he does come in from Bayern, if he's better than Gavin Bazunu, then great. He'll be better than Gavin Bazunu, and hopefully our results will start to take a turn if there's a defence in front of him that's got a little bit of know-how and a little bit of confidence in the bloke stood behind them.
I think, as Glenn said last week, you've just got to hope that you said it, Glenn. No, you called it like any new player that comes in needs to be more Leo Cienza and less Damien Downs. Because
well, yeah, that'd be nice.
Cienza didn't have the league experience, I guess. He's not played in the Championship before.
No,
I mean,
any player that you bring in from anywhere in the world has a level of risk. You know, whether they've played in the Championship or not, or England or not, there's a level of risk. You could argue that there's more of a risk with a goalkeeper like Peretz because of those factors, over if you're comparing him to Patterson. But yeah, I mean, I don't think with goalkeepers, as I said last week, I don't think it's as crucial with goalkeepers to have as much of an understanding of the league you're coming into. Managers, it might be another story. I mean, Eckert's a risk. If you want to look at, another incoming, Eckert's a risk, obviously, because of his inexperience of anything. And, he would have been more of a risk than bringing in, I don't know, someone, one of these journeyman managers who's been around the Championship for a while. So yeah, it is a bit of a risk, but I largely agree with Steve on the goalkeeper that just being physically bigger, he's obviously a decent player because he's been scouted by Bayern Munich. They're not in the habit of of signing duffers, are they? Club of their stature. So yeah. I mean, it's a bit the question mark I have is why they've obviously loaned him out to get first team football at Hamburg and he's not played. So that's a worry. That would be a little bit of a worry. Why is that, mate? I don't know anything about Hamburg's other goalkeeper. But I know, I mean, going back years, Brian Clough always used to say that the most important player to build a team around, you start with the goalkeeper, and he had Peter Shilton and he won the European Cup twice, and that's that. That he always said that. I think the goalkeeper is vitally important. It's the old spine of the team thing, and it starts with the goalkeeper, and I don't think we haven't had a good goalkeeper really since sort of prime Fraser Forster. And I think we've struggled. Oh, we had Ramsdale last season, but that was in an absolute car crash of a team.
Yeah, obviously. You have to take that in isolation, don't you? Are we all
But,
agreed
yeah.
that McCarthy's got to come back in, even if we don't bring someone new in this week?
Well, 100%. I've been saying that. I've said that.
I know
for the
you have.
Birmingham game. But I just want to go. I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw Bazunu catch a cross in a crowd of players. I'm looking for it, and I just never see it. There was one punch that he sort of slapped out against Birmingham in the away game, but no, I would certainly put McCarthy in goal. But I mean, we're going to get onto Doncaster in a minute. He certainly has to play in that. So does Romeu. They need to try and so does Ross Stewart if he's fit. They have to try and get these players back involved, because the ones that are currently in the team are really struggling.
What's the expectations now, Martin? I mean, let's be honest, 6 games without a win, 15th in the table, I think 8 points away from the playoffs, 9 points above the relegation zone, maybe. We kind of spoke last week about the away game at Fratton Park being something to potentially look forward to, as in a game you have to win, and that could breathe a bit of light into the season. But what do you think about the next few weeks? How do you see things playing out?
Do worry a little bit. The FA Cup's in the middle, potential banana skin. But I think we just need to start seeing the basics done correctly again. Fight, desire, a bit of spirit, some togetherness on the field is the bare minimum now. We didn't see that in the closing stages today at all. And we just have to start finding some confidence from somewhere. It's drained out of all the players. It's not just 1 or 2 individuals. I still think he needs to start finding the ways to get the best out of fellows. Leo Cienza's he's lost a bit of form, and I do wonder, like, he's managing minutes. I get the managing minutes, but everybody's minutes have got to be managed. I'm not sure they've all been managed. Manning's minutes certainly weren't managed. Flynn Downs haven't massively been, but I just want to see some togetherness, build a bit of momentum going into the Portsmouth game, because we will not live it down to go there and get beaten. They're really struggling at the moment. They're in the bottom 3. We have to go there. And with the squad we've got and the players we've got, we should go there and more than win the game. But we've got 2 really tough home games, haven't we? In the league, they're both tough. Hull have been decent. They've done a job on us at their place, and the Sheffield United, they've not had the greatest season so far. But Patrick Bamford's gone there and done really well. I think we just have to start finding a bit of togetherness. I just feel the fan base just feels really broken. And when you go on a run like this, it breaks everyone. It tears it apart a bit. And I hate it. I hate those moments where it feels fractured, because when it's good and it feels good and you've got momentum, it can be so powerful. And it's finding that momentum again to get us going before we get anywhere near Portsmouth and Fratton Park. Because if we don't, we'll go there and get beaten, because, it's not really about... on the day, it's about who wants it the most, isn't it? Who's going to dig in enough, and hopefully it's a better game than the last one.
I mentioned at the start, Steve, there is a bit of breathing space now. It is ridiculous that we played 4 games in 10 days. Do you think there is now a little bit of time just to sort of take a breath and look at a few things and reset and then go again?
I mean, there's a possibility that the fact that we've now got some time between games to work on tactical things may kind of bring about some sort of proper change to the system. I think it's not unreasonable, I think, for Eckert to be defending how he set the team up in these 4 games specifically, just because of you don't have time to work on anything different. Whether he should have worked on it previously, that's like in the handful of weeks where we didn't have 3 game weeks before Christmas, then maybe that's a different conversation. But the results were going well at that point, so I think it's fair to kind of stick with what's working. And it's only as we've come into this busy period that it suddenly stopped working sort of very dramatically. But now we've got a full week ahead of Doncaster. I mean, maybe you look at it in a different way. You've got a full 2 weeks ahead of Hull City. You can kind of go to Doncaster and basically put out whatever team you like. As long as you don't lose, nobody's really gonna be too vexed one way or the other, I don't think. Personally, I think this set of players need the confidence boost from a good win in a competitive environment. It's all well and good a few players playing for the under-21s, although we've not even had that option for best part of 6 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks or so now. But there's nothing better than first team minutes and getting what theoretically is our full strength, our sort of first choice 11 onto a pitch in a competitive environment. I mean, against a team that's second bottom in League One, and who have been conceding goals left, right, and centre. Like in their last, so they've lost 5 of their last 6 games, and they've conceded 1, 4, 1, 5, 4, and 2 in their last 6 games. So they're not in form, and it should be an opportunity for us to go up there and everybody get a bit of confidence back with a nice, comfortable but big win. And you can
put that down for your prediction.
You can kind of see the way that would then galvanise that team. It's like, right, okay, we've had a bit of a refresh.
2 home games.
Now we go into the league games, the ones that matter. We are going at it with a bit of a running start, as opposed to if we make 11 changes, it's all the reserves that play at Doncaster. Yeah, we get through, we win 2-0. It's a bit dull, but the reserves have had a 90 minutes. Although all the players that have been playing over that have been flogged to death over Christmas, they're still going into that whole game lacking confidence and lacking any real sort of sense of momentum or build up.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a difficult one to gauge, I think, this week.
I would be willing to bet that Tonda and his spreadsheet will have a different idea to that.
Yeah, well, we'll get onto that in just a moment. Is there anything else on the game today before we move on? Any other observations or things we missed? I mean, it's not great for those doing dry January, is it?
Oh, the referee managing to book Cam Bragg for a Taylor Harwood-Bellis foul. That was
really?
Was one. Yeah, I mean that was extraordinary. Bragg had chased Hackney back, I think, about 5 yards. Hackney had played a little laid one off for a quick 1-2, and Harwood-Bellis just barreled into the back of him. And Bragg is the one that gets booked. It was like, sorry, what? Yeah, very odd, that one. But one thing to say on Middlesbrough, actually, that the defender that came in for his debut, who they'd signed,
didn't he play well?
Yeah, he'd been. So basically, they signed him in the summer, I think. But he's been playing in MLS. So they left him there on loan for the rest of the MLS season. So he wasn't allowed to play until this week for Middlesbrough. But he came in. He was incredible. Like three big blocks that saved at least 2 goals. One that everything in the air was quick, strong. And it's like, they've barely paid a fee for him, and yeah, he already looks like one of the best defenders we've come up against this season.
I'm not going to bother with player of the week.
Martin, I got one more thing. Ryan Manning did it again, didn't he? The challenge.
Oh, the thing the Harry Kane
that
we were talking about last week.
He's a horrible shithouse. He really is. As well as.
And then there was another challenge in the second half where he probably should have been sent off.
Yeah, bottled a couple of headers as well. It's just like dreadful player.
Terrible.
But I'd like to see Wellington given, a run of games just to try and actually get some defending done down that side.
Ideally, as an actual left back, isn't it?
And let Cienza do the attacking
in a back four
on that side.
We mentioned Cam Bragg. He won Player of the Week last week. As I say, we're not going to bother with the vote this week. I think we'll give it to the away fans that made the trip. I did see today they got a free programme and a pie from the club if they use the official travel coaches. So, I mean, my school of thought is they should probably get a refund on their ticket and their travel as well. But that's a debate for another day, I think. So, congratulations to Cam Bragg, who won Player of the Week last week.